Welcome back to Sports Weekly, and right now we gotta talk about the curse of Simeon High School basketball team. And that high school team is basically one of the probably most famous high school team in United States. But there's a random curse going around. Maybe, like I said before for MMA, maybe just another coincidence. But let's start with the story that everyone knows. Jabari Parker and Derrick Rose, both athletes who were great basketball players for Simeon High School. They were both five-star recruits in high school. Derrick Rose ended up playing for Memphis in 2007. Jabari Parker went to Duke in 2013. Derrick Rose got drafted first overall in 2008, and Jabari Parker was drafted second overall in 2014. Derrick Rose was one of the youngest MVP ever, and Jabari Parker averaged 20 points per game in 2016. Both players are great players, but they struggled to stay healthy. They both underwent ACL surgeries, and after that, it was a domino effect of knee injuries, and both players basically just had problems health-wise. And Derrick Rose could have been one of the greatest of all time, but injury happened. Jabari Parker was in borderline being an NBA All-Star, but he got injured. So for the next one that went to Simeon High School, we got to talk about Kendrick Nunn. Nunn was a four-star recruit from Simeon High School. He was actually played with fellow high school stars Dion Thomas and Jabari Parker. They went to the high school at the same time. They graduated at the same time. But Jabari Parker went to Duke, and Kendrick Nunn went to Illinois University and had an incident. He had a decent college career until he got in trouble. Illinois University ended up dismissing the junior guard Kendrick Nunn from the basketball team, and it was basically he pled guilty to a misdemeanor battery charge stemming from a domestic violence arrest. Nunn was accused in March 2016 of hitting a woman in the head and pushing on the ground and pouring water on her. So that's not in any basketball team, even if you're in a high school team or grade school team. If you do that to a woman, there's a possibility that you will get suspended. You get suspended from the team, suspended from school. So that is a no-go for Illinois University. And Jalen Tate was involved to the incident, but the charges were dropped, and Jalen Tate ended up playing again, and he got reinstated. But both players were from Illinois University and Simeon High School. So that's just coincidence, I guess, when we talk about it, when it comes to curses and all that stuff. But another player who went through some unfortunate circumstances is Dion Thomas. During 1988 to 1989 basketball season, Bruce Pearl, then an assistant coach for Iowa, was at the center of recruiting scandal involving Illinois University. Dion Thomas was one of the best high school player in Illinois. As a senior, he was named Illinois Mr. Basketball, and played in McDonald's All-American Game, which is featured NBA players such as Shaquille O'Neal. And Bruce Pearl was trying to recruit Dion Thomas and said, play for Iowa University. And he failed miserably and thought there's something fishy. So he started investigating, and one of Dion Thomas' friends is Ronaldo Kiles. He told Bruce Pearl that assistant coach of Illinois, Jimmy Collins, offered Thomas $80,000 in Chevrolet Blazers. Bruce Pearl called Thomas, and Thomas basically admitted that Jimmy Collins offered him the money and the car, and Bruce Pearl recorded the call and gave it to the NCAA, and the NCAA investigated the whole thing, and they basically didn't have enough proof. But Illinois University was on probation and restrictions when it comes to recruiting high school players. And Thomas went on to become a player for University of Illinois, and he was the all-time leading scorer. And he made the NBA, but that's just another sad story coming from Simeon High School. And the next one basically is Nick Anderson. A lot of people remember Nick Anderson As a Magic's player, he played with Penny Hardaway, Shaquille O'Neal, and he had a great career. Nick played for NBA for 13 years. He played with Shaq and Penny, like I said. He was a big role player. But in Game 1 in NBA Finals was against the defending champion Houston Rockets at the Orlando Arena, with the Magic up by 3 points late in the game. Anderson, typically a decent shooter, decent free throw shooter, 70% shooter. But because of Game 1 against the Houston Rockets defending champion, they could have won the game. But he missed 4 consecutive free throws that could seal the victory with Orlando. But because he missed those 4 free throws, Kenny Smith hit a 3-pointer for Houston shortly and sent it to overtime. And basically, Houston beat the Orlando Magics and annihilated the whole team. After that game, he was named the Nick the Brick. And he went downhill after that for Nick Anderson because since that year, his free throw percentage went down. I guess his confidence went down since that NBA Finals, and that was kind of a sad story because he was a great role player. And lastly, we'll talk about Nick Anderson, high school teammate Benji Wilson. Benji Wilson was supposed to be the next big thing for basketball. Simeon coach called him Magic Johnson with a jump shot. And some people say that he could have been the biggest rival of Michael Jordan if he made it to the NBA. Fortunately, Benji Wilson was shot just outside of his high school. Benji Wilson died at St. Bernard Hospital in Inglewood. Along with Len Bias, he is just another what if in the NBA history. Benji Wilson is just another victim of Simeon High School curse, and it could have started from him because since he died, every best player in Simeon High School end up wearing that number 25 jersey. And that is it for this segment and this curse of Simeon High School. When we come back, we're gonna talk about Terrence Davis' story. He was a high school football player, but he ended up changing his mind. So stay tuned.